It takes a very special kind of lunacy.
Is that Alan Moore, right?
Yeah. So it's like, he's like, oh, but he's the greatest living writer. And the book's great. The book is great, but it's this insane script. I have a completely different friend who's an artist that I love working with. And I find that the best writers write for their artists. They write the script knowing that Sean Chen's going to draw it, knowing that Jamal Engel's going to draw it. You write for your guy. And like one of my favorite guys to work with, I know one of his kinks, which is he reads the book, he reads the full script all the way through, and then he starts over, and then he's going to start drawing it. But I know he's going to be so focused on that page, he's going to forget the rest of the story. So when it's time to draw, he reads a page, draws a page. Reads a page, draws a page. And he's going to forget that I need the villain to unmask at the end and it's a woman.
Right.
So he starts drawing from page one as a guy, and it's like, or he'll do something that doesn't have the right payoff by the end. So I know that when I'm writing a story for him, I have to have that note on that page.
Right.
By the way, the tank also can turn into a plane. Think about that when you're drawing. Because you'll need that by page 22. So I have to make sure when I write for him that that's the way I write for that guy. Also, like the longer you're on a book with somebody, the more if it's working right, and if it's the same writer and the same artist, and this is one of the frustrations about working on Spider-Man, because we're all polygamists. when you're working with a guy, you are like the married couple, and if you're working long enough, you start getting each other's vibes, and the scripts get looser and looser and looser. As like, when you're playing Pictionary with that couple,
right?
That couple, and the person writes down the other person goes, unbearable likeness of being, and everyone else goes, how did you put it in? How did you? That's what you want with your artist, and eventually you get there. The person I had that most with my entire career was Mike Cazala working on Ren and Stimpy. Where by the end of our run, my scripts were at like, Mike, the thing from the phone we were talking about with the Twinkies? Yeah, do that thing, but put it more to the left, so we have that scene from the right for when it gets revealed.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else reads that, they're like, what the hell is that? But then it comes out great, because it's like when I'm working with Marcos Martin now.
Who is awesome. He is so good.
Alex Toth has this saying, which is, he spent the first half of his career learning what lines to put on the page, and the second half of his career learning which lines to take away. And that's Marcos Martin. It's like every...
the other way around, actually. First you learn what to take out, and then you learn what to put back in.
No, I think
because newcomers tend to have more lines than they actually need.
Yeah, it's that every line that's on like a Marcos Martin page is the perfect line, and only that line to tell that story. Beautiful storytelling. And I know there's certain tools he has in his toolbox. So like just doing one issue with him. Did you guys read the Spider-Man paper doll arc?
Yeah.
The shot of Spider-Man walking down the side of that building?
Yeah.
That was not that way in the plot. In the plot, Spider-Man has this big decision to make, and he doesn't know what he should do. And while he's mulling it over, I had him pacing back and forth on the underside of a ledge, because I thought that's kind of cool. He's Spider-Man. That's how he'll make up. Oh, should I do that? And then Marcos sent me an email and went, I have a different idea for this page. And I'm like, you're Marcos Martin, I trust you. And it's this gorgeous page. It's my screensaver. I love it. It's like my favorite page of comic art in years. Where instead of just having him go back and forth under a ledge, he had him go all around the building. So when you pull back and you look at the composition of the page, it's a splash page of the building. But then he does inset panels to mark Spider-Man's journey along the building. And your eye follows the natural flow of the way he did the layout. And by the end of it, Spider-Man has righted himself and done this. And you immediately know, without any dialogue, I'll do it. And it's perfect storytelling. You almost need to add any words to it. And that's because you have that trust. And the minute he did that, I'm like, that's one of the tools in his toolbox. That's like Neil Adams doing the shape of somebody's head as a panel.
Right.
This is something that's in his lexicon. I'm going to pull that crap all the time. It's going to be like, Marcos, we need to design the architecture of this new building. Let's move the fight through it like this. It's like you want to throw, I think one of the best writers at this is Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb has his guys, and he knows what his guys do well. And what his job a lot of the times as the writer is he just lobs that ball over the plate. He's just going to put it right in his artist's sweet spot. So that artist can just crack that bat and knock it out of the park. It's like, this is no slight on Brian Azzarello. This is no slight on him at all. But you look at Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb on Hush, and you look at how dynamic every page of that art was. Because that's Jeff Loeb going, and then you fight Poison Ivy, and then Superman comes in, and then the Riddler crashes him, and then Killer Croc hits him with a car. And he's constantly giving Jim Lee these, just lobbing these softballs over the plate. And then Brian Azzarello does the next arc, the Superman. And it's 12 issues of Superman talking to a priest on a building. You know, is that going to make Jim Lee happy? Is that going to produce the most dynamic art you can? You know, you read 100 Bullets, you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. That you got to match your guy to your guy.
Right.
You know, sometimes you're not always going to get the best mix. Even if they're the biggest talents in the world, they might not click just right. Or you might have,
I've been there.
right, or you might have two guys that never really had a hit, but you put them together,
Right.
and there's a magic, there's an alchemy between these guys. That's one of the best jobs of the editor. That's some of the magic of the editor you don't see, is the editor goes, this guy's going to work with this guy. I'll try Juan Babio and Dan Slott on She-Hulk. I'll try, like Jonathan Hickman and Dale Eaglesham on Fantastic Four.
Right.
That is going to be a magical book. If you're not picking up that book, you're insane. When that book comes out, it's going to blow you all away. Or you go, I'll put you on chat with Jonathan Hickman on FF Dark of it. Well,
I haven't,
well, there you go.
because of 4. But I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
No.
Who's your favorite character that you're drawing in Mighty Avengers?
Oh, I'm writing. But
Yeah.
my favorite right now, because he's the one I get to put my fingerprints on the most,
Yeah.
is Hank Pym.
Yeah, because of his wife's death, he took the name of the Wasp, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Slot.
I was running that by people, and it got all the right reactions.
Yeah.
It got people looking at me, other writers going, "That is stupid," and then they'd be angry, and I'd be like, "Okay," and other guys would be, "That's kind of crazy good." So you look at this guy naming himself after his dead wife, and dating the robot with his dead wife's brain patterns, and this is the most messed up character in comics. Do you want to read about the character who's got all their stuff together? No. You want to read about that guy that's just on the edge of crazy. That's interesting.